Breaking news this morning, 2 people were killed and at least 6 others injured in a shooting in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yeah, so this happened last night. You're seeing footage from the scene there near a funeral service at a church building. Officials there say they're still looking for the suspect in this. Witnesses in the area heard the gunshots, say the experience was quite scary, and say they were relieved that it didn't occur inside the church.
When I pulled up to my house, I got out of my car and I heard just in the distance. I was just like, maybe it's fireworks, but you never know. It's Rose Park, so it's kind of hit or miss.
Well, the circumstances actually leading up to this incident were unclear, but we are working this morning to learn more. We're going to bring you those updates as we have them right here on 5 News this morning.
Well, developing this morning, growing questions after federal immigration agent shot and killed a woman in Minneapolis yesterday.
Now, the Trump administration calls it self-defense. State and local officials disagree. A warning, though, the video may be difficult to watch. Take a look. ICE agents in Minneapolis began to surround the red SUV here as the driver was ordered out. The truck appears to reverse, then pull away. Now, another agent actually fires into the SUV, killing the driver, identified as 37-year-old Renee Good, a U.S. citizen.
The Department of Homeland Security calls the shooting self-defense. Minneapolis's mayor, Jacob Frey, strongly disagrees, calling the administration's explanation false.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bull.
Meanwhile, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said the driver had been stalking agents all day and used her SUV in an act of domestic terror.
Our officer followed his training, did exactly what he's been taught to do in that situation.
Well, the ICE agent who shot Good has not been identified, though DHS saying the agent was taken to a hospital for treatment, then released.
Well, after 5 years of catching up, the Washington County Prosecutor's Office is announcing that they are now up to date on their criminal cases.
Yeah, courts across the country fell behind. You'll remember after the pandemic. 5 News reporter Emily Moss has some more. Good morning, Emily.
Good morning, Joe and Tiffany. For the last 2 years, the Washington County Prosecutor's Office has closed at least 1,000 more cases than they've filed. Prosecutor Brandon Carter tells me that pace has been key in finally catching up on this backlog. In the fourth quarter of last year alone, 460 felony cases were filed and 899 were closed. Carter says during the pandemic, courts across the country prioritized violent cases or crimes against children. But in the last year, they've been able to find a pace that allows them to catch up on other criminal cases like drug trafficking or nonviolent offenses.
Having the courts up to date affects far more than just the docket in the court system. It deals with our jail population as well. Our jail population was bursting at the seams during COVID and in the months after COVID. While our jail is still too full, it is much less full than it was a year ago this time.
Well, Brandon Carter is running for the Arkansas Court of Appeals this year. He faces Judge Sarah Kapp, a current 7th Judicial District judge and former state representative. That election will be held on March 3rd. Back to you.
Thank you for that update, Emily. Well, a woman says she's grateful to be alive after a crash on I-49 nearly turned deadly.
But a split-second decision saved her life. It's a story you'll only see here on 5 News. Arkansas State Police say the crash happened just before 3:45 Sunday morning, December 28th on Interstate 49 near mile marker 32. Police say that Melora Stites lost control of her car, leaving it disabled and blocking both lanes.
Well, after calling 911, she stepped onto the shoulder to try and flag down drivers. According to state police, Stites saw a tractor trailer swerve to avoid her. Scared it would hit her, she jumped over that concrete barrier, falling about 40 feet.
Felt like I was reliving my life all over again. Like I had like a million different dreams in the span of like a second. It felt like it was really insane.
She walked away with a few broken parts of her back, a fractured rib, pelvis, and sternum, and says that she's thankful for that quick thinking decision. Well, new this morning, a piece of Fort Smith history avoided losing its funding after the board of directors voted to keep this historic landmark.
Yeah, Miss Laura is a former brothel, and now a museum is funded for at least another year. 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi joins us now to explain. Good morning.
Good morning. If you walk into Miss Laura's, you're instantly transported back to the early 1900s. Once a brothel, the Victorian mansion now stands as a historic landmark in Fort Smith. Funding for the museum wasn't guaranteed this year. I spoke with the museum's director about how the community rallied to help keep its doors open and why preserving the building's past still matters today.
Miss Laura's in Fort Smith is one of only 9 former brothels in the U.S. preserved as a museum. Face possible funding cuts. At a budget hearing in late 2025, Acting City Administrator Jeff Dingman laid out several ways to cut operating costs. One option, to end its funding.
We were made aware before that meeting that we were going to be cut from the budget. The words spoken were very certain.
At the November meeting, Museum Director Angel Tracy, alongside Fort Smith Convention and Visitors Bureau Director Ashley Backert, voiced strong support for the museum and its historic value, warning the city could face significant financial consequences if funding is cut, including the cost of deassessing the museum's artifacts.
The deaccessioning cost for the museum is to the tune of $520,000.
Several board members, along with Mayor George McGill, expressed support for the museum. In a statement to 5 News, City Director Andre Good said in part, quote, "I've watched for years as Fort Smith sought to brand ourselves. Miss Laura's is part of that frontier." In December, the board ultimately approved the 2026 budget, included just over $230,000 for Miss Laura's, but with the expectation that the museum would work towards becoming a nonprofit.
They're able to just donate the building, the property, the contents, all the things, just get it all over to the nonprofit so they don't have to worry about it anymore. And it can be preserved in a way that it needs to be preserved.
Tracy says last year the museum made big strides towards self-sufficiency, opening a gift shop, charging admission for the first time, and hosting community events. She adds that it's the community that has kept Miss Laura's alive and will ensure its future.
Not physically possible to separate it from our Fort Smith city government history. It's a part of their history. It's important to continue to give women voices. This is one of those places where, you know, women struggled not being underneath the city. Whenever that should happen, it's important for us to continue to have their support.
So they got the funding, but the museum says still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, she mentioned there, right? They still need the community support. They still need people to come out, visit the museum, right? Pay that admission cost so that they can keep running and still, like I said, work towards becoming self-sustaining. She also says that they're going to work to get some new signage around the building. They also need to fix the exterior. They also need to fix the parking lot. She says that's all money, though, that needs to be approved by the board of directors. That's not something that they can just use with the money that they got there. So again, still working towards making updates to the building. Again, working on everything that they accomplished last year, bringing that all into this year.
All right. Thank you for that update, Jacob.